blah, blah, blah. Don't be ill, don't be ill. It's almost weekend. We want to have a nice weekend. Hi, and welcome back to my channel, Yarn at the Barn. My name is Manon. I'm a programmer, horsey girl, and a knitter, and it's the knitting that we talk about on this channel. So for this week, we're finally going to talk about my autumn plans. No, I don't have the yarn yet, not all of it, but it's about time we talk about it. October has started and it's definitely autumn, so that is going to be one part of what we talk about. I've got a finished object. No, I'm not wearing it because it's a summer garment. I'll get into why I'm not wearing it as well. And then some works in progress too. I have finally worked on the Agnete cardigan. And yeah, plans, tries, a bit of acquisitions, with some of the yarn has come in, most of it hasn't. But I'll take you through everything I want to knit this autumn, and a few things I would like to knit, but I don't know if I will have time, and some of that will then become winter plans. And some of it, if I can't start it in autumn, I will probably put off until spring. Wow, I'm so awake today. Let's start with my finished object, which is, as you probably have guessed if you watched my latest episode last week, the Hawaii top. So here it is. Sure, it does have straps, but I don't want to pull on them too much because then the stitches are going to extend and there's already hairs caught in them. But yeah, here it is. And yeah, the reason I'm not wearing it is that to make this look good, I have to wear a skin-colored bra, and it doesn't fit really nicely. As in, it's okay, but it's not super comfy. I just couldn't be arsed today. It's Friday afternoon, and not today, guys. I'm sorry. I will, at some point, take some pictures of how this looks worn. But yeah, not today. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen today. But it's really beautiful. I mean, last week I had done, I think, all the finishings. I'm not sure if I had done all the buttons yet. Maybe not. I don't think so. But so I finished that. I had done all the crocheting, and what I then also did is the I-cords that have to be attached to the crochet finishings. So that was quite fast, and I really like how it looks. It looks really nice worn as well, but you'll have to take my word for it about that. There's one little detail. So I love the entire thing. There's one little thing that the pattern did say not to do, and I did do. So it's entirely my fault, and I regret it a little bit. So the pattern very clearly says to count your stitches so that the finishings for the button band are a certain number of stitches, so that you don't do this extra little fan here at the top. And I thought, I didn't quite, my stitch count didn't quite work somehow. I'll just do just a little one and it will be fine. It's not the best look ever. There's a reason it says that in the pattern. I should have known. But what I will do is I will make, I think, a tiny little button so that I can attach these two together. And then it's going to look a lot better. Because now they sort of like, well, they fan out. But that part of the garment is not really supposed to look like that. It looks, I don't know if you can really see it like this, but it's like a weird little bump. And it would be so much, this is going to be really awkward, how am I going to show you this? But it would be a lot nicer if this was neatly together and then the crochet edgings start neatly like that. It's just going to be a better look. So yeah, that is my one little thing that I would do differently. Other than that, I did not modify the pattern at all. So the only thing that I did, that's not entirely true, but the one thing that I modified visibly did not work out. So if you want to knit this one, don't modify it, would be my advice. And one thing that I did modify, but I talked about this last week, so I'm not going to go into detail, is that I switched the button band around so that the buttonholes are on the other side than the pattern says, and that way I could do all the crochet finishings in one go without having to cut the yarn. That's the only thing, and that is not something that is visible on here. So yeah, that is it. So because I talked about this one so much last week, I'm not going to go into too much detail again. The one thing that, no, I did talk about what this cost me as well, but I'm just going to reiterate that one more time. Where do I have my, I have a spreadsheet, of course, because I'm a nerd, with everything about this. So the total cost of this garment was €27.18. So it's knit in Knitting for Olive cotton merino, and I only used 3 balls, so that was very nice. And I had, I think, 10% discount code for Knitting for Olive or something, so I only paid €6.75 per ball, so times 3, which is still very affordable for a top. And then the pattern cost me €6.93. And I can't remember if that was with a discount code or not. I'll look it up and I will put it on the screen if the pattern price is different from what I'm telling you now. So yeah, quite affordable. And so I cast this on the 16th of August, cast it off 28th of September. So cast it off, but also finished the edgings and the I-cord and everything. And so it was on my needles for 43 days. I worked quite a lot on this one. In its last weeks, it was just finishings, and so I also did some other stuff. I had cast on, in the middle of September, I did cast on the Orchid Bloom pullover. So there were, and I finished, I think this one, let me double check. I finished the, no, I finished it before I cast this on. So yeah, not a lot going in between. So I wouldn't say it was monogamous knitting, but reasonably. At first it was going really, really fast, and so I thought I would finish it within a month, but then, well, starting another project did not help. But it's quite a fast knit. It's been my first all over lace knit. It's a little bit challenging, I would say. Is it the first lace knit I would suggest for someone who's never done it before? I mean, it's doable because I've done it and it's not like I'm special. The one thing is that you have to keep in the back of your mind is that it's knitted flat. So you have to knit the lace right side, but also wrong side. And that is the only thing I would say, like, be cautious, because especially with your decreases, you have to know which way to do them. And so there's a little bit of thinking that goes behind that. It's not impossible, not at all. So I wouldn't want to discourage anyone to do this, but just keep that in mind. Definitely make a swatch so that you can try and see if you're not making lots of mistakes. I made a couple of mistakes, but because I did them in the swatch, I was able to rectify it and do the rest of the swatch all right. And that gave me the confidence to do the entire garment flat. My other whip, well, one of my 2 whips, is knitted in the round with lace. And that is a lot easier. So if knitting lace flat is a little bit too scary, find a pattern that knits in the round, and you don't have to think, you just have to follow the chart and not think about, am I on the right side or on the wrong side? Do I have to think about, is this an SSK or the pill version of that or anything? That's my only advice. Other than that, I can still highly recommend this pattern and the garment. So it's pretty amazing. That is it for the finished object. So I think most logical thing is to move into whips. I normally don't drink tea during these episodes, but I'm still feeling a little bit not 100%. So just to make sure that my voice doesn't end up all croaky by the end of this. Let's get the project bag and let's talk through the whips. We're going to start with the one that is lying on top of it because that's just a lot easier. And this is the Orchid Bloom Pullover by Sari Nordlund. I made little stitch markers. So I made this little thing. I think it's going to be easier to show you like that. Is it? If it focuses. Yeah, there we go. It's just a little pearl. It's one of these things that even a couple months ago, I would have told you, like, oh, fancy stitch markers. Stitch markers is a stitch marker. So why would you even do that? And I wouldn't buy these ones because usually people want to get quite a lot of money for them, and if they really make something themselves, like they cut out a shape and they paint it and stuff like that, then by all means it's worth it. But when it's basically something like this is just you buy a stitch marker, or you already have a stitch marker, and then you get a pearl of, for example, AliExpress or just a craft store, and you just add a little ring. I'm sorry, but that's not worth €5 or even 2. You can make this yourself in like 30 seconds. So that's what I did, because for some reason, I don't know, I wanted a special little stitch marker, especially for the beginning of round. I don't want this everywhere in my project. I don't want this to become some sort of charms bracelet, but I don't know, this, I just felt like it, and I've also made 2 others. This has quickly spiraled from I don't need fancy stitch markers to I made stitch markers. Anyway, I've got this little one, which is a little, what is the name? It's not grapefruit. Oh, damn it, why is my memory so bad? It's on the tip of my tongue. But pomegranate. There we go. It's a little pomegranate seed. And the funny thing is, it even came with, it's got the little seed in it. It's a little bit weird. It's made out of resin. But yeah, I don't know if you can see it, but it's quite detailed. It has a seed in it, and then the resin is around it. I really like it. It's very shiny. It feels, I don't know, just a tiny little bit plasticky. It's resin, so it's normal. But if it were made out of glass, which would come with risks, so that's probably why it's not, then it would be even nicer. But it's cute, and it lets the light through, and so in different light it looks darker or lighter, and it's, yeah, what can I say, it's nice. And the other one, and I just like this one so much, it's a little chilly. As frozen, great, but it's a little chilly. And we've grown chilies in the garden this summer. We've got loads of them. If you ever want to plant chilies in your garden, plant 1 plant, maybe 2 at most. But if it's the tiny little chilies like these, 1 plant produces quite a lot. And since they're, I mean, unless you're like my husband and you like to just drink chili sauce because you're crazy, then 1 plant is going to be plenty to spice up every meal you will ever have that year. But yeah, I like it. I feel like a bit of a, I wouldn't say an idiot. I don't want to say that people that like fancy little stitch markers are idiots or anything, but it's just not something that I saw myself doing. So it's a little bit puzzling. But I like it. I start to understand the stitch marker people better. Yeah. I don't know what it is with the chili, but I really like the chili. So yeah, sorry, we got completely sidetracked. The actual knitting in this, I think I'm on the chart row 45 now, so of the lace, and last week I was on 30 or 31, because I remember saying that was almost halfway, and 33 would have been halfway, because it's 66 rows long for the lace, and then you will change to stockinette, which I'm not too far off now. And one of my other plans is another jumper with lace, but before casting that one on, I want to get to the stockinette part of this, because then this will be my easy project, and the other jumper is going to be something that I need to read a chart while doing. So almost there, can almost cast that one on, but for now, I don't know how handy it is to show you this. I have to turn it out. Once again, it's all scrunched up because I'm working on a small cable. I can't remember if I had already switched to this cable last week or not, or if I was still on the 40 centimeter cable, but this is a 60 centimeter cable, and I really should change to 80. Also, so I can sort of try it on, and now it would barely fit over my head, and I'm afraid to drop some stitches. Again, this is lace. It has happened this week where my dog got a little bit tangled in the thread and it pulled some stitches off the needle, and I had a little bit of a panic moment, but it turned out all right. It was a fairly easy section, so it was okay. But let me see. This is really rubbish. I mean, when it's all scrunched up like this, you can't even see the lace properly. But yeah, I'm doing a very bad job at showing you this, but I think this is going to look really nicely. Have I dropped a stitch? No, I've not dropped a stitch. Thank God. So it's a bit hard to show you the actual progress on this, but I have done about this much since last time. In fact, I will put on a little stitch marker, just a normal one, after I film this, so that the next time I do a podcast, I can show you the actual progress. And then I could also put it on some trying on tubing, and then we can see if this will fit. I have not tried it on. It's a little bit of a, I don't know, chicken strategy maybe. I hope this will fit. Sari Nordlund's gauge is famously very loose, so I went up a size, in part to accommodate that, in part because I could not really hit gauge on the lace part. I would hit gauge like perfectly on the stockinette part, but not on the lace part. I would have had to go up one needle size, but then it didn't look as nice as the recommended needle size, and so I wanted to stay on 3mm needles, and not size up, and so I was really hesitant what to do. This is also superwash merino wool, well, part of it. Let me show you the yarn. So the main yarn is this one, and this is 70% superwash merino, 20% silk, and 30% cashmere, which makes it a very soft. This is a yarn by Tôt le Matin, so it's hand dyed, and when I saw this color, which is clématite, I knew I had to have that, and it would look great for this project. It was a little bit on the pink side, and I wanted something that was just, it's almost a little bit, I don't know if you can say that it's on the cold-ish pink side. There's like a little bit of blue in there, and that's part of why it's so beautiful, but I wanted to make it just a little bit warmer, also because this is like an autumn knit, And so I added the Forest Berry colorway Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. And so together, I think they look absolutely fantastic, because just the pink would have been a bit too pinkish for me and a little bit on the colder side, whereas warmer tones look better on me. And well, you get to judge, of course, but I love it. I think it's really beautiful. So that is that. How did I get onto the yarn? I can't remember. As I said, my memory is absolutely terrible today. This is my second ball of mohair by now, and this is what is left of 100 grams. I have 4 skeins of this, and looking at it, it's gonna be okay. I think I would have just about been okay with 3, but I like to make sleeves a little bit longer, and in general the body as well a little bit, although on the pictures it looks like something that I would like lengthwise, but the sleeves definitely need to be a little bit longer. Well, I think I got onto the yarn because I was saying that it was superwash, so it would grow. Well, I think it will grow a little bit, but the mohair is going to keep it from growing too much. So yeah, I hope that my gamble size-wise is going to pay off. But since I've not been able to try it on yet, it's going to be a surprise. And we'll see. I'm not re-knitting all of this. I'm not going to rip it all back and redo it. Also because when I've made a mistake and had to redo little bits, this combination of yarn is a bit annoying to take out. I don't know, somehow they stick together quite a lot. And I'm not going to go through that trouble. So if for some reason it doesn't fit me, I will have to find someone who deserves a really nice jumper in that size. We'll see. I hope it fits me. Second whip, and it's got a crochet needle stuck in this. This is very handy. I should have maybe like a project bag that's a bit more organized. It's just like a canvas bag from a really nice little handmade jewelry shop in The Hague where I used to live. And I like the bag, and yeah, it just became the project bag. But this is the Agnete cardigan. Let me try and make sense of it. It's in Peer Gynt, 10 Peer Gynt, I should say, and in drops mohair, kid silk, I think it's called. Sheds a lot, this mohair. I find bits of red mohair everywhere. I've used this mohair, for example, in this cardigan, and didn't know I do because I find it everywhere. Anyway, this, let me see if I'm going to show you the right side. This is the right side. There we go. This is what I have until now. So this is the back panel, and this will be the right front side. And I had cast this on, I can't remember, but quite some time ago, and then I got sidetracked by other projects, and so didn't work on this for quite a long time. And then last week's podcast, I said that my plan to start working on this again was to start knitting on this during my commute. So every Monday morning and Monday afternoon, every Monday I go to the office, and I live quite far from where I had to go to the office once a week, fortunately. And so I've got quite a lot of time in the train. I used to work on a train, but it doesn't always work well. So I knit most of the time. And so last week I put a stitch marker in to measure what progress I've done. This is knit in brioche. Before you say it's not a lot, it's a lot. I think I've worked on this on a Monday, not on any other day of the week. So yeah, here is my progress. So starting from here and all of that. So I've added quite a few, I think 2 or 3 more increases along here. I had to look up a video how to brioche again. that's how long this was in my project bag, being neglected. But yeah, we're back on speaking terms. I know how to brioche again, so that is a good thing. It was actually very enjoyable to work on it again. I've talked a little bit about this with someone on Instagram who was also struggling with picking up whips. And to me, what is very important is that I wanted to work on it again. It's not that I forced myself. I had to come up with the strategy to do it, to get a time that I would do it on. But also I wanted to. If I don't want to, I'm not going to. And if I try and force myself to, I will hate it. And then I will end up not liking the project because I didn't like working on it. So it had to, yeah, be something I wanted to do. And for me, it really worked. The strategy of like that day, I just work on that. What that person was doing is that I think they had said they were going to knit 10 rows every day. And I think that is a great option as well. The reason I don't want to do that is then I have to work on it every day, and it's sort of like a must. I have to do my 10 rows, and otherwise it will feel like a failure. And just saying that day I work on it, I can also not knit that day if I really don't want to. But I don't know, for me, in my head, that works better, but we're all different. So I just wanted to share that with you in case that would work better for you. So yeah, quite happy, and I'm going to keep on doing that. So this is what is going to come with me on the train on the Mondays. And it's so squishy. So yeah, this is definitely something I want to work on this autumn as well. And hopefully, I mean, it's a perfect colour for Christmas. So it should be finished by Christmas. And one thing that I'm sure you've noticed, but I didn't say anything about, is you can really see where it was stuck on a needle for months. It's got this very nice stripe. I like pulled and everything a little bit on it. I think that's just because it was on a needle and it didn't move. I pulled it. I mean, the stripe used to go all the way into the double knitting. I don't know if you can still, just a little. You can still see it a little bit, but that's where I mainly did the pulling and stretching and pushing it back together. And it seems that it just will go away. It just needs a bit of movement, and so I'm fairly certain it will block out. So I'm not too worried about that. It's more, I found it a bit funny that it was so visible, but yeah, not too worried. The one thing that I did get worried about when I picked this back up is what if my gauge has changed. It seems okay. From what I can see, but you tell me. So yeah, thankfully that seems to be all right, and I hope it will stay all right. But that is it for the whips. Let me put this one back in the project bag before it sheds everywhere. And then I can put the orchid bloom pullover, there we go, I can speak, back in there as well. And then put all of that somewhere else. Just hang it off the chair. And then something that is not quite a whip, but something that I have swatched for in the last week is one of the things that I want to knit as my autumn pants. And it is the Harris hood by Harris hood by Cheryl Mokhtari, and that is the name behind the, I don't know if you can call it a brand, I guess, sort of, but Coco Amour knitwear. And the Harris hood, I think, was put out, it's a pattern from last year. It was very popular then. And it's been in my Ravelry list ever since. And I wanted to knit it last winter, but then I started on a garment, and that took me months, and I didn't knit anything else. I was very monogamous back then. Anyway, it's on my list to knit this autumn because it's starting to be quite cold, and especially early in the morning when I'm going to walk the dog, or if I have to go to the office, it's quite cold outside, and I really want something nice and warm that I can pull over my head and that is also covering my neck. I love scarves, so I also want to maybe knit another little Sophie scarf, or actually I never knit the Sophie scarf, I knit the simple thing. I have it here because I've been wearing it quite a bit because my throat hurts a little bit. It's folded double because I think it's a little bit too wide, but it's perfect if I'm riding on the scooter, and I hope it's not going to touch the mic and make lots of noise, but if I have it just like this, and if it's raining or anything, then I can pull it all the way up here and then have the visor of my helmet cover my eyes, and then I stay warm. So, oh, touching the mic, I'm sorry. Anyway, I really like this one, but I would like to have a, well, like a Sophie scarf, or just make this one because the simple thing is a free pattern. I think it existed before the Sophie scarf. So if you want a nice alternative, I mean, it looks pretty much the same, then you can look this one up. It's on Ravelry. It's free. It says somewhere that she was going to make it into a paid pattern, but I think it's still free. I hope it is. When I got it, it was still free. So I hope I'm not telling you stuff that is not true anymore. Anyway, lovely pattern. It's basically the same idea. The one thing that I would do differently is I knit it in very much a worsted weight yarn, and I would want to knit it in something that's much smaller, because it's so big. The ends are quite wide, and I would want something that is not as wide in the middle either. Anyway, I've completely deviated again. This is lovely. And how did I get on here? I was talking about the Harris hood. I have no idea what the connection was. Anyway, back to the Harris hood. I like having something warm around my head, my neck. And I had some yarn that I ordered a while back that I thought would be quite nice. And this is 100% alpaca by Drops. I think it's just called alpaca. And it's the fingering weight. I don't know if you can see it, but it's quite small. It's very soft, of course. It's alpaca. And I had, there we go, there's like red mohair on this. Brushed alpaca by Drops. And I bought lots of this at some point early this year, because I had seen the Cumulus blouse by PetiteKnit, and I thought, oh, I could knit that, but instead of 2 strands of mohair, I could use this, and it's going to be so lovely and soft, because I had just discovered brushed alpaca, which I used for a hat for my mum for Christmas last year. And then I think the Drops had a sale or something, and I bought a fuck ton of this. And then only after realised that, I don't know, the Cumulus blouse is somewhere very much down my list of things I want to knit, because I would prefer to knit something that is a bit more jumper-like at the moment. So I have lots of balls in lots of different colours of this brushed alpaca. Loud, it's got a very nice little halo, but don't use this instead of a mohair expecting the same result. It's a lot more fluffier, but I thought it could work together with my other alpaca yarn, and so I did a little swatch. And this is the fluffiest thing ever. And it feels great. It's alpaca, it's not mohair, so it's a lot less scratchy. It's also for an accessory, so it's not a garment that will stretch and not bounce back, because alpaca doesn't bounce back as much as wool does. So that is not a problem. And yeah, the texture is on so many aspects. This is great, but it wasn't what I wanted. I mean, this would feel so nice around your head and as a scarf and everything, but I didn't like that the stitch definition was not super clear. It's very fuzzy. So if that's what you want, this is a great combination. One strand of the alpaca fingering weight and one strand of the brushed alpaca gives you this little cloudy dream. That was being difficult, and I wanted something with more stitch definition. So I still wanted this colorway because I thought that, I think the sample by Cheryl is in kind of this color as well, and I really liked it, so I wanted something quite similar. Sort of got hooked on it. There's so many other colors that would look good, but yeah, this was in my head, and I had 3 balls of this. I had ordered those with that pattern in mind already, but that was before I learned about yarn weights and how much yarn you would use for a certain pattern. It would have worked with the brushed alpaca, then 3 balls would have been probably perfect. However, I was not happy, so had to make another plan. And yeah, I prefer to work from stash if possible. So back to the stash I went, and I got this mohair. This is a ball that I've already used, so it doesn't look as nice and fluffy as this one, but before it gets used, it looks a lot nicer. This is Drops Kid Silk, so the mohair, which is also in this cardigan. You can't really see it, but that was what I used, the last bit I used in here. But if I pair just a mohair, who's a lot less fluffy and bouncy, not bouncy, what am I saying? Just a lot less fluffy and taking up space with the fingering, I knew I would not hit gauge at all. It was going to be far, far off, and even sizing up the needles would not work, or it would become this very open gauge fabric, and I want this to be a warm garment, so not an option. So, held 2 together with the mohair, and we get this. And this I like a lot. And I hit gauge perfectly. So, this is, yeah, I wouldn't say it was meant to be, but it was very good. So I'm very happy. I think I prefer, what? There's something on there. I think I prefer the color that this creates. This one is a little bit on the light side. I mean, it could be lovely for a garment or for anything, but for what I wanted in this case, the alpaca held double with mohair is a lot closer to what I wanted. So here we go with my extra tiny swatches. I need to make a swatch wall or something, or sew them all together, or I don't know, do something with all my swatches because I'm starting to have quite a few of them. Anyway, this is going to be my Harris hood. However, holding it double means I don't have enough alpaca fingering weight, so I ordered 2 more balls. I think I might be playing a little bit of yarn chicken here, but I think that should be enough. And if it's not enough, I'll order 1 more ball. But I'm going to try and not order too much. I say this, but you're going to see that is utter nonsense in just a little bit. So yeah, I tried to be good and only ordered 2 more balls. And since I'm going to hold it double, I'm going to see if because they're going to be different dye baths, because I ordered this at least 6 months ago, probably more. But since I'm going to hold it double, I'm just going to use the new balls. Well, 1 new ball, 1 of these, mix it together and hope that it works, and that you don't really see a big difference. And then the last ball I can use to do the ribbing, hopefully. And even if there's a little bit difference, then I hope it won't be too visible. So that is the plan. And by the way, this is a colorway camel. The mohair is marzipan, and for the life of me, I have no idea what this one is. I have the label somewhere downstairs. If I can be asked, I'll look for it. But I don't know. It must be cream or marzipan as well. I don't know. Maybe not. I think it's probably something like cream. If you really, really want to know, let me know in the comments and I'll look it up. And in fact, sorry to everyone who commented last week. I've not reacted yet. I've just not been feeling too great, and I've been trying to at least get the work done. And I've also, the week before, I didn't feel great, so I didn't even ride any horses last week. And then this previous few days, finally did again. I was a bit scared because I had a training, and my trainer is very enthusiastic and likes to push you. I was a little bit scared that it was not going to be a very good experience, but he was nice. He was very nice, and I survived, so that was good. But more to say, I've read all the comments, and there are some really nice ones in there, and thank you so much. And I will reply to them, but I've not done it yet, and I'm sorry about that. There was one, in fact, I need to share this with you guys. I talked last week about this ribbing really stretching out, and this is half twisted ribbing. And one person pointed out, and I thought that really makes total sense, and this might be why I don't do twisted ribbing in the future, despite it looking very neat. But because they are twisted, once you stretch them, they don't spring back. Because they turn into like little knots that are so knotted together that they can't spring back. And this is why you get this ribbing that is not bouncy and not stretchy. Because there's ribbing on the bottom of this where I did not do half twisted ribbing, and that looks a lot better. So yeah, that is a good lesson, and I thought I should share this with you and not just keep it to myself. I mean, it's in the comment section and anyone can read it, but just wanted to highlight it. So thank you so much for that explanation, because that makes total sense. And I will make sure to not put ribbing in places where I will stretch the ribbing. There is half twisted ribbing on my the current project I'm knitting on, the Orchid Bloom pullover for the neckline. So that's going to be fun. Something to look forward to. I'm not ribbing it back. Anyway, so that is for the Harris hood. And the second two balls have not been delivered yet. They should be delivered about next week somewhere. Kind of want to cast it on pretty soon because it's not a very big project, so it should be finished quite quickly. However, there's two other accessories that I would like to do as well, and one very much has a deadline, so I might do that one first. This is going to be a completely disorganized podcast. I'm sorry, but yeah, let's just continue with accessories, and then I'll talk you through the garments I want to do after. So the other, the accessory that has a deadline is a hat by Unwind Knitwear. If you are not new to this channel, you've heard me waffle about her designs quite a lot before, but this is the Cellarium hat, and it's inspired by one of the windows in, I can't remember which abbey, but an abbey in England. And it's really beautiful. It's not quite lace, it almost looks like lace, but it's like cables. And it comes, I think it's 5 different sizes, so there are kit sizes as well. And I want to knit this for my brother's girlfriend, because this little scarf was supposed to be for her last Christmas, but it wasn't finished. And I should have sent it, but I didn't, because one day I was in a rush and I was cold and I needed to go outside, and I grabbed it and I wore it. And well, it's not like I didn't give it back, because I never gave it to her, but that's basically what happened. So I sort of owe her a Christmas present. And so I thought this hat is gorgeous. And so I thought that would be quite a nice one to do. Alina, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry that I stole your present. I'm such a bad person. Anyway, she's getting a better present, I promise you guys. Let me get the yarn that I'm going to use. If once again, you are not new to this podcast, then you have heard me or seen this yarn before. This is the same yarn as I'm using for the Orchid Bloom pullover. It's Tôt le Matin MSC, so 70% superwash merino, 20% silk, 10% mohair. Not mohair, what am I saying? Cashmere, which makes it very nice, very soft. And so yeah, I just love it. It's in the colorway Jasp, and basically I ordered my sweater quantity of yarn. I had to order one more skein for a project that I thought I needed another skein for. It turns out I don't, but that's a whole other story. And then I could either pay, I think it was 16 euros in shipping, because they had to ship to the Netherlands from France, so it was a little bit more, or I could order one more skein for a bit under 30 euros, it's 27, and get free delivery. So that was a very easy choice, of course. And so I ordered this one. So it's just one skein. It's 100 grams. So I can easily make a hat out of this. The problem is after that, I'm going to be left with like 40 grams, which is a little bit of an awkward amount. But that's a problem for later. Anyway, I want to make the Cellarium hat. So for my, I think they're not married, but sister-in-law, she's awesome. And I'm going to visit them. They live in Munich. I'm going to visit them at the end of November, because we're not celebrating Christmas as a family this year. So yeah, that is the one with the deadline, and it needs to be finished by then. So I need to cast this on quite soon. And I've got this sort of rule that I'm only allowed 3 whips at the same time, so that they don't take too long to finish, and also so that I don't start lots of things that I then don't finish. Do accessories count as a whole whip? I don't know, let me know what you would do. I'm leaning towards saying no. But on the other hand, I also know that if I say no and then I have even more whips, that is not very good for how fast projects will move and for general satisfaction that comes with that. So this should be my top priority. But there are also other things that I want to knit. There's one more, well, accessory. Let me first put this one away. The third and last accessory that I'm gonna knit this fall is something that a couple of months ago I would have told you I would never knit, because what is the point? But it is Socktober, and in the last month I've been following along the podcasts of Marie Wedge, who is in her skein, and she designed these really beautiful socks, the Agrimonia socks. And when she asked for testers, I was very tempted, but I was like, I never knit socks, so this is a terrible idea. And I also thought, I mean, come on, I've never wanted to knit socks, so why am I even thinking? And I kept thinking about it, and it would just not leave my head. And so the pattern came out, I think it was last week, and I decided I was going to knit socks. So here we are. I'm really excited to try this. I'm really excited about this pattern. It's really beautiful. I've bought the pattern. It looks very detailed. It has very clear instructions. So yeah, I'm very excited. I ordered the yarn, I think Monday. And I was hoping it would have been delivered by now so I could show it to you, because I got 2 different options, because once again I couldn't choose. But the other option will be knit into like a little scarf. So it's not like it's a projectless yarn. Yeah, once again, I'm making excuses to order more yarn. Anyway, I've had my eye on Malabrigo yarn for quite a while, but then it is a lot of superwash yarn, and I would prefer to not use superwash. One side of it is microplastics. I mean, the yarn that I'm using for my Orchid Bloom pullover, it does not feel plasticky at all. So it really depends what sort of superwash yarn you use. whether it does feel plasticky or not. But yeah, in general, pure wool has my preference, but especially with hand-dyed yarn, when it's been treated with superwash treatment, speckles and stuff like that will show up a lot better. So that's why a lot of indie dyers go for the superwash options. And I can understand that. It's also easier to take care of. So for example, for a hat or a scarf or little accessories like that, that might end up in a bag and get dirty or whatever, I think it's not a bad idea to use superwash. And so I decided I'm going to knit socks. I need a base that will have nylon in it anyway. It's going to be on my feet. So superwash is definitely what I want to go for. And so I got some Malabrigo Ultimate sock yarn, and I got 2 skeins. Well, I haven't gotten it yet. I would love to, but it's not here yet. I got 2 colorways. One is, I think it's called Neverland. It's this very soft pink, and it has it's a little bit of a fade that it's got in it, and I think that would look quite nice. They come in skeins of 100 grams, and that should be enough for 2 socks. So that's quite exciting. So yeah, I think that is probably the color I'm going to go for. But then I also love the socks that Marie-Ève knitted up in this sort of golden color. And so I also got one in that. I can't remember if it's in Oro or Sunset, or it's called something else. I'll look it up and add it on the screen if it's not one of those. But yeah, so that's the 2 skeins that I should be getting. And yeah, I want to see them in person and then make the final decision. But I think it's going to be this pale pink. I think it's going to look perfect with a pattern that has like little flowers and lace in it. I think it's going to be very sweet. And it's not normally a word I use a lot for describing the type of garments that I want to wear. But I don't know, this one's just perfect. And I think it's going to look great. And a pale pink like that close to my face is not going to look good. But on socks, I think it's going to be amazing. Because, I mean, who cares what colour socks I wear? They're going to be nice socks, though. Not to just shove into shoes. But, so yeah, this is my chance to work with a colour like this. So yeah, very excited about that. That is the third. I'm lying, it's not the 3rd accessory. I want to do 4 accessories. Okay, although the 4th one is not quite an accessory. I've talked about this last week as well. I want to knit a jumper for Archie, who is snoring back here under his blanket. So sorry, he's not very actively participating in this video this week. I am sorry, but he's been quite sleepy the last few days. Once again, it's not a very active day for him today. But yeah, I've noticed he's getting a bit older. He's 13 and a half years old now. And I've noticed, compared to previous years where he for a while, he seems to be getting colder a bit faster. So the dog needs a sweater. I'm a knitter. A sweater it is. So I want to knit a pattern by Drops. It's called The Lookout. I had a bit of a hard time figuring out which size I had to knit. The pattern's not very clear. They have different sizes, but then they just tell you sort of for what breed those sizes would be, and the chest circumference. But then they also have the length, the back of the length of the back. But is that for the entire garment? Is that just from after the ribbing in the neck to where the garment is supposed to end? It's a bit unclear. And there's quite a lot of people complaining about the pattern having errors, at least in the American English translation, but I'm going to use the British translation because that has measurements in centimeters instead of inches. So I hope, oh, someone woke up. So I hope that I won't have too many errors. Oh, his little claws are making lots of noise on the floor, so I hope that's not too bad. Arch, you want to go outside? Or are you going to come here? Okay, outside it is. and Archie has left us to go downstairs, probably to have a drink. Where was I? Oh yeah, jumper for Archie. He's sort of, size-wise, he's quite similar to a Jack Russell, but he's got a much bigger chest. He's got a very big chest for a small dog. And so it was a bit of a pain. But I think I found one other person that seems to have a dog very similar to Archie, also a Patterdale Terrier, on Ravelry, and she knitted a size M. So that's what I'm going to do, and I hope it will fit him, and otherwise it will be a bit of a loose sweater. So anyway, I want to knit that, and it's going to be a red sweater, so it's going to be very Christmassy as well, I'm afraid. But I think that's going to be the nicest looking colour on him. I think grey was a little bit sad. I thought about yellow, but I think it was my husband that vetoed yellow for the dog. He wasn't a big fan of it. We'll see. But so I think red is going to look really nice on him. So I also ordered, together with the Malabrigo yarn, I ordered some drops, extra fine merino, but in the, what would you call it, sport weight, I think. It's a bit weird because they have several extra fine merinos, but it's not the chunky version. It's not the baby merino that is fingering weight. So it's sort of the in-between one. This pattern is supposed to be knitted with Drops Charisma. That's just the normal superwash wool. But the merino was on offer and basically the same price as Charisma. And it's also superwash because it's going to be worn by a dog. So it needs to be superwash. And so I thought, well, if I can knit him a merino jumper, why shouldn't I? Not that he's going to feel it with all his hair, but, you know, it's going to be nice. So that's what I'm going to do. And I ordered 3 balls of that one. And I realized this morning I need 4. So yeah, that's a little bit stupid, and it's going to be it's going to be more expensive to pay for shipping for one more ball than the actual ball of yarn. So I think I'm going to leave that a little bit and maybe see if I at some point order more yarn for, I don't know, some more crazy projects, and then I'll order the single ball as well, or if I'm almost at the end of the ball, or maybe I play yarn chicken. I don't know. The plan is still a bit vague, but I do want to have this finished before Christmas. So all of these autumn plans are basically until half December is what I want to knit. So yeah, 4 accessories is already quite a lot, plus the jumper that I'm already working on, plus the cardigan I'm already working on, and then I've got another jumper that I want to start, and that's the Low Tide by Unwind Knitwear. I've talked about this one quite a lot already, so I'm not going to go into too much detail, but I changed the options for the colorway that I was going to use, but I talked about that last week as well. So yeah, quite excited to start on this, but I might do the hat first, the gift knit, then start that, and then sort of on the side, or when I finish the Orchid Bloom, do the Harris hood. I don't know. Timelines and stuff is a little bit vague, but we'll see what I feel like, and then that's going to be that. And then there's 2 more options. If by some magical events I have lots of time and I go through all of this knitting a lot faster than planned, and this could be because I'm going to have 2 weeks of holidays. It's like awesome. I didn't think I had enough days left, and I could only take 1 week off in October. And then I had a look in like my employer's overview, whatever thing, and I have enough days. So I feel this is like the most luxurious thing ever, is to be able to take 2 weeks of holiday just because you can. So I'm really happy. But so we're going to go to the mountains for 2 weeks, and if the weather is crap, which it could be because it's autumn, I'm going to have lots of time to knit. And if the weather is not crap, then I will still have quite a lot of time to knit. So that's why my plans are, well, I don't think they're undoable at this point, but that's why I've got some possible backup options if by the end of November I've finished quite a lot of stuff. Then I would possibly want to knit the Thalia Sweater by Pearl by Ray. So that's the brand name, and then the person behind that is Megan Hawthorne. And I don't know, there's something about that jumper. I cannot put it out of my head. And I think I talked about this in one of my pattern roundups. Can't remember which one. Probably the late summer one, because it's all over lace. So it would be perfect as like an in-between season thing. So not quite as a jumper to go into winter, but then it looks so refined. It's so beautiful. I mean, the lace, the picot edges, it's perfection. The one thing that is a downside is that it's knitted bottom up, and I complained about this a lot. But the reason it is done that way and why you can't really reverse engineer, well, you could reverse engineer it, but then the lace is going to look very different. If you want to do that, you could. It's not that it's impossible. It's just that all your lace, you would have to flip it 180 degrees. And I think the way it's done is much nicer than if you would change that. So yeah, I think I would just follow the pattern. And so yeah, that is my one option that I'm thinking if I have time left over, and like a considerable amount of time, I might do this one, or I do this one in spring. So this is the one that might happen this year, might happen next year. I've got one more option, and if I don't start this in autumn, I will do it in winter. And it's the Ciro Sweater by Moreca Knit. And I missed the tester's call and pissed off about it because I would have loved to knit this one. It's very oversized. It looks really polished and beautiful. It's very simple, but it's got just enough details that it's not your average jumper. And I love it. It's so, so beautiful. It's got a very simple round neck, but it's got a split hem, which I really like. And I've not knitted yet. And I realised that. I'm like, why haven't I done it yet? Because I love wearing a jumper with a split hem. It also has a split cuff. And one modification I might make for that is that I might add little buttonholes and then tiny little like droplet shaped buttons so that I can close it. Because I like to be warm, and if it's all open and flapping open, there might be moments where I'm like, that is a little bit too cold. And if there is an option to close it, then oh my god, it becomes the perfect sweater. So that is what I'm thinking. And for that one, so the recommended yarn is very much a premium option. It's all Lamana yarn. Oh, and now that I'm talking about this, I forgot about one more sweater I am definitely knitting this autumn as well. These plans are getting out of hell, guys. Out of hand, into hell. I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to get done, but we'll see. Anyway, let me finish about the Ciro Sweater. But the recommended, I think she has two recommended yarn options. I think one is like Filcolana, and I can't remember which yarns, but the other one is Lamana Como. Wait, because Archie is back at the door. But recommended yarns for this jumper are Lamana Como, which is 100% merino, but very, very fine, very light, and Lamana Premia, which is the mohair from Lamana, and it's 60% mohair and 40% silk. So it's got a little bit less mohair, so it's a little bit less fluffy. And those are, well, no, the merino is, I'm going to say, normal price for the luxury segment of yarns. The mohair, bloody hell, is very expensive. So in the Netherlands, it's like almost 16 euros. I've looked at it in France, and there it's almost 15 euros, so it's €1 cheaper. And in Belgium, it's the same price as in the Netherlands, unfortunately. That is very expensive. But it's my birthday in a bit under a month. So I have sent my friends a list of things that I would enjoy receiving, and one of those is a gift voucher from one of the shops that carries Lamana yarns. So yeah, that might be my birthday present. It's either going to be that or some other yarn or a teapot or a book. That's basically the options. Or a new helmet for horse riding, because mine is starting to get a bit old and helmets do have a shelf life. I've not crashed this one yet, but yeah, I should replace that one fairly soon. So if I don't fall on it before Black Friday, I will use the Black Friday discounts to order a new one. Just because my brain is quite important to me. So let's try and keep it, well, keep the neurons that are still working, keep them there. So yeah, anyway, so much diverging today. I'm sorry. I hope some of you are still here. But so that's it for the Ciro sweater, and I will knit it, whether it is this fall, autumn, or next year. But we'll see. Now he's coming up. Oh, there we go. Called to pop in. Anyway, that was it for the Ciro sweater, and then let me talk about the one other sweater, and I've talked about this in previous podcasts, so you do know about this, but I really want to knit the Esther Sweater by PetiteKnit, because it's going to be a big, chunky, lovely thing. Also, bigger gauge than anything else I'm going to knit. No, the Harris Hood has quite a similar gauge, but everything else is stockinette. Not stockinette, what am I saying? Everything else is fingering weight. So I do need something that is a bit chunkier, a bit faster, to possibly keep me motivated. This is the yarn that I had ordered like over a month ago now, and that still hasn't arrived. There seems to be some problems with the supplier. So I talked with the shop where I had ordered it, and they sent me the mohair I had ordered because they had that one in stock. And then I've tried ordering it somewhere else, and that shop says that they will be able to send it next week. So fingers crossed, because I have no idea what's going to happen, if it actually will be sent or not. But I have the mohair, and I got a little bit too much of it, I think, which is stupid because this is the most expensive mohair ever. No, Archie, you can't put your nose in the box. Oh, apparently you can. Can I, yeah, okay, yeah, can I take one out? This is the Lamana Premier mohair, and it's in the shade Kiwi, because the Peer Gynt that I've ordered is in colorway Matcha, and this, thanks Arch, now there's dog snot on this. Great. I thought this was going to be a beautiful, vibrant color to go with Matcha, who's a little bit more on the grey side. This is awfully expensive. But yeah, once I had thought about an Esther sweater in the colorway Matcha, I could not unthink it. It was stuck in my brain, and I thought about knitting it without a mohair, but then I decided that for like a sweater that is supposed to be warm, I wanted a little bit of halo, fluff, coziness that mohair brings, but I didn't want too much of it. So I had a bit of a problem, because on one side I wanted a very unique color, and on the other side I wanted something that wasn't too fluffy. Enter the Lamana one, which isn't very fluffy, so it's perfect, and they have this beautiful color. They also have the merino in this color, by the way, and it's I can't wait to start knitting on this. Yeah, this is kind of bad, but I might start casting it on as soon as I get the Peer Gynt, because this has been a bit of an adventure to get the yarn. So I'm very excited about finally, hopefully, getting it next week. Oh, it looks so nice. I don't know. It's and the name Kiwi really is justified. It's really this vibrant color, and I think together they will pair so well. But yeah, is this gonna be a pricey? I think this might be. I don't know if it's gonna be the priciest jumper to date because the Orchid Bloom has hand-dyed yarn in it, so that is quite expensive as well. We'll see at the end of it. And then at the end of the year, I will also definitely do a video of how much all my knitting has cost me this year. So we will be able to compare. But this felt very much like a splurge. And according to the pattern, I should have enough with 5 balls of mohair. Also, and I only thought about this later after ordering, this is very light, so this has more meterage than your average mohair. I don't know if it says how much. Yeah, it's got about 300 meters in 25 grams. So 5 balls should have definitely be enough. But I like long sleeves, and so I also ordered an extra ball of pear gin just to be sure that I can really knit the sleeves to the length I want and not play yarn chicken, and so ending up with something that is just not what I want. And so I ordered 6 balls. And that is a lot of money for 6 balls of yarn. So yeah, even the Ciro Sweater, which is knitted with this mohair as well, and has a lot of positive ease. Even that one, and it's a much smaller gauge as well. Even that one says 5 balls and not 6. So I'm gonna have too much. But yeah, so that is a bit of a fail on my part. But yeah, I'm super happy to have gotten this. I waited for a month, but now it's here and I absolutely love it. I can't wait. Okay, I'm very excited. I'll stop talking about it because I think you got the message by now. But yeah, this is my crazy planning for Archie. There's no need to bark or growl at cars that drive past behind the hedge. There we go. Look at the birds. We can look at the birds. Yeah. Now that I've talked about all of this, I realize that my plans are a little bit crazy. There's no way I will fit the Thalia Sweater in there. So that's going to move to spring knits. I don't think I will be able to start the Ciro Sweater yet. So that will definitely be like a Christmas holidays cast on, if not later. I hope I can get some decent progress and finish some stuff in the next few months. I mean, I've got 3 months. 2.5. So we'll see. But I mean, I've got some holidays, time off during that time. So I don't know. I'm not the fastest knitter. I try to knit every day. Most of the time, I can knit every day. It's just not a lot of it because some time goes to, well, obviously to work, and then some time goes to walking the dog, and then quite a lot of time goes to the horses. Yeah, we'll see. But this is what I thought I had good plans, that it makes sense, and that this was going to be very reasonable. I realize my plans are not entirely reasonable. But yeah, we'll see. Hey Arch, we will knit you. Well, I will knit you a sweater. I think there were some other people that wanted to knit a sweater for their dog. If anyone wants to knit it together, could start it at least together, especially with a pattern like the Lookout that might have errors. Maybe we can help each other out. But let me know in the comments if you would like that. Also, let me know in the comments what you've been knitting on while watching or listening to me waffle endlessly about unrealistic plans. If you've enjoyed this video, then consider giving it a like. It's always nice to, well, I wouldn't say I'd measure it that way, but it's like a nice little return that doesn't cost you a lot of effort. So it's, it's that's nice. And if you've not subscribed yet and you'd like to see how I'm going to fill at all these plans, basically because there's no way I can do all of them, I think, then you might want to, oh, hi Archie, you might want to subscribe. But yeah, I hope I see you next week again. So I try to post every Friday at 5 p.m. I'll see what I do next week. I had quite a few accessories that I want to talk about, like patterns, but maybe I mix it up with other patterns because there's a lot of really nice patterns that are being put out at the moment on Ravelry. So it might be a long video again with lots of patterns. We'll see. So yeah, I hope to see you next week and have a lovely weekend if you see this when the weekend is starting or it's still weekend, and otherwise a really nice week if you see this a little bit later. Hope to see you soon. Bye bye. Oh, and happy knitting as well. I keep forgetting to say that one, but definitely happy knitting, happy crafting. Bye bye.